Splash, splash, wobble, wobble, splash, splash, wobble, wobble. This is the sound of the ball, the tennis balls, the soccer ball in this instance, hitting the momentum river and taking off up in the upward slope, yeah. What this is a metaphor for. Welcome to the news, by the way, the materialism edition. This is the materialistic edition of the news. This is, the materialistic edition of the news. Okay, so M3AI. M3AI is a symbol for talking about money and marketing and momentum and having the left hand, in an analogy sense, having the left hand in the sense of a right and a left hand. In the left hand, you hold a money tennis ball, and in the right hand, you hold a marketing tennis ball. And in a consistent fashion, you throw both of those tennis balls that are consistently replenishing themselves in a metaphorical sense into momentum rivers. Momentum rivers. So it's like a reverse alpine slide. It's like a reverse alpine slide. It's like a slope that's real fun to go down, but in the opposite direction. Because the momentum rivers are going in an upward direction in a hopeful sense. Because that's the purpose of relocating the tennis balls. And that energy, which is inside of the tennis balls, is to push them along in those momentum rivers so that they gain greater value up after all. And so it's vacuumed up and shot up into the air. And in this materialism episode, because we're in New York City, and we finished, and there's sort of a past reference to wanting to make a little shop in the area, in the city, in this town, in the south part of the town, to just like in the past, just like in the old days, and it's been a while since being here, just got into town, and so it was the end of the first day in essence, and so as a result, it's kind of a reminder from spending time a little bit here that having a shop here was an old school interest, or not an old school interest, but an interest like not too long ago necessarily. And the first item of a symbol is like the soccer ball, which is something that I've been carrying around as kind of a symbol ever since before being here, before being in this city, before this town. It was in the south of the United States, in the farthest south region, beyond this current location. And so, with that in mind, the item of having a soccer ball is like analogous in New York now, as like the tennis balls. It's like analogous for the tennis balls in the M3AI example, which I've mentioned a few times so far in the podcast, but I just mentioned it again. M3 stands for marketing, money, and momentum, and having tennis balls in each hand. It's like a metaphorical mentality visualization situation, so that it's like a constant, continuous, consistent visualization of throwing momentum and money tennis balls into momentum rivers. Money and marketing tennis balls into momentum rivers. And the soccer ball stands for those balls, in essence, the power and the energy within them, in essence, is part of the purpose of putting them in the momentum rivers, because they coincide, they co-enact, and they have that counteracting energy with each other and a chemistry with each other. To activate the rivers to be able to pull them in that direction which they are intended to go. And so in this vanity, in this materialism episode of the podcast, the soccer ball is being carried around, and it's like a symbol. And it's like also similar to video games in essence. And we just finished the Games for Change Festival Day 1. We just finished Games for Change Festival Day 1 in NYC. And it was, I guess, an interesting experience. The last time around was like maybe 8 years ago. And it was similar to the time that other video games came out. And then Dinky Tehc actually showed and exhibited at this Games for Change Festival. So it was a good combination of the coincidence when that video game came out that took and displayed augmented reality to the world and the public, and what augmented reality is able to do when it's displayed effectively, efficiently, into a widespread mainstream fashion to be able to get people to act. And when people act, it causes consistent electricity to be able to travel through the pipelines of societies, to be able to activate a lot of thorough and interesting and funky and unusual energy that can be repurposed into philanthropic energy, and that's the whole purpose of Dinky Tehc and Change for Game Studios. In short, it's similar fashions to how I mentioned last night, except that was a completely different, more so sped up rendition of a conceptual future projection of the types of energy that AI can propagate and percolate and permeate with time passing. Alright, so now we're talking also about the shorts that I was wearing today, that are in essence shorts that were acquired down south, in the south, in a peculiar fashion, and they've been ultimately inside out. They've been inside out, and they're like rainbow shorts. They're like rainbow shorts that are like reflecting in essence. And they were a certain interesting time and space and place in the south that I was able to connect with them. It was just by chance, in essence, and such things. And so, in essence, they were just a little bit too bright, I guess you could say, to be able to wear them on a regular basis. So, never had before they've been worn in a correct fashion. Never before had they been worn so that you could see the color on the outside. But today, for the Games for Change Festival, we turned the shorts around so that the color from the rainbow was able to reflect, and it also corresponded to the outfit for the Games for Change Festival, for being able to volunteer at the Games for Change Festival. And that, in essence, turned around and made an outfit that was more so complete as opposed to the way they looked when they were inside out, because it was a little bit strange, but they were black on the inside. So it made it so you couldn't see the rainbow, sort of effervescent, little bit of a reflecting type of shorts that they are, basically. And so that helped contribute to an outfit, and so therefore the demeanor, and also the Dinky Tehc logo, which has the rainbows spitting out of the bottom. In essence, like in the circular sense that also makes up the smile for Dinky Tehc and the logo. Yeah, the Dinky Tehc logo and Change for Game Studios. Oh, yeah! So, it's also interesting because trying to come full circle with this kind of conceptual nature and mentality for developing a shop back in Soho was such a long time ago interest, and it still kind of is something cool enough to be able to try to do, indeed, but now everything is digital and everything is moving so fast that it's kind of difficult to be able to conceptualize doing an actual pop-up shop and an actual store that's in a physical space necessarily, although you never necessarily know. I hope that someday that is a kind of a conceptual possibility, but who knows what the location would be. I have no idea, not at this second at least. But the symbol for the shop in Soho is very much aligned with having some of these cheeky items necessarily, because we try to go a little bit further than just clothing necessarily, but business, music, clothing is what we're trying to start with, indeed, to be able to try to segue to selling businesses with real estate attached, and hopefully in a roll-ups fashion, and also transition that into philanthropic energy by doing things like Yonsei Spurlo, so that on the back end of selling somewhat of real estate with businesses attached, that it's possible to be able to triangulate that energy into philanthropic energy, global giving, combination, collaboration, videos, music videos that are collaboration music videos that include philanthropies. They also include that is after we sell, on the back end of selling and earning funds, hopefully from roll-ups being sold, that are already trying to be sold, and then we therefore transmit some of that energy into developing collaboration videos with philanthropies, with other music artists, people, and with some of those, and then also with product people, all those product people. So hopefully these videos are not possible to really necessarily realistically fake with AI and such things, because we need the participation of people to be able to sign off on their images being present within certain IP that we hope to be able to create on the backside of being able to do commerce on the front end and sell real estate with businesses attached, and then create Yonsei Spurlo videos, which has to do with creating further and continuous philanthropy around the world, and also trying to continue to grow a community by doing little cheeky things and interviews and such things, where we try to make trading bots with people based on the causes that they have an interest in developing in the world. But it's getting peculiar and interesting with AI spreading and shedding all over the place, because it's definitely creating a lake of energy that's connecting many different bodies of energy in terms of entrepreneurship and conceptual problem solving solutions and such things that hopefully can continue to evolve and continue to program the world into a much more functional, happy place in the soonest time that it could be available, so that it's efficient. And we also want to announce that we're coming out with the Dinky Tehc shoes. The Dinky Tehc shoes, the Dinky Tehc shoes. They're like slip-ons. They're like slip-ons. They're like slip-ons. So we might be able to slip on or in a link for the purchase to be able to conceptually be available by the time that this podcast publishes. Or it might be the day or day after or something to that effect. But yeah, just go ahead and keep me informed to be able to post that link to where the shoes are available. We have Dinky Tehc shoes are available, and so in the spirit and the name for developing that shop in that skate shop. In essence, it's a core foundational skate shop within the Soho and West New York area region necessarily, so that the Dinky Tehc logo is able to be propagated with that skater mindset, which has to do with motion and making motion, so that ultimately we're able to make motions and be able to work from different places in the world at all given times, and the location is agnostic. It doesn't matter, it's location agnostic, because we're all working together in the world as long as our hearts are beating and we're all connecting through frequencies to in all places wherever we are in the world. And that's a really interesting and nice conceptual item to conceptualize harmonies happening from all of our frequencies at all given times. Because that is the nature of games for change, and change for games, and change for games, and change for games as well. Dinky Tehc and Change for Games Studios as well. So that we're able to try to connect all these heart energies, all the art within the heart energies, so that we're all playing our heart energies together in harmony throughout the global giving philanthropy energy global giving grid. The philanthropy energy global giving grid that connects all human beings. The philanthropy energy global giving grid, which connects all human beings, all given times. And we're going to try to continue to do this. We're trying to continue to propagate this message through all the IP that we could possibly make before AI takes over the whole world, and everything that is IP is completely made by AI, because it's already predicted by AI what on the front and back end what would be ideal for the audience to see, and also for the creator to create. And AI can do all of that and all those things already. It doesn't necessarily, in terms of finding incentives, it can find the incentives as well. And the purpose to be able to try to continue to create one ginormous program. But that's not the purpose. The purpose is Dinky Tehc and Change for Game Studios. I mean, that's not the purpose of mentioning it. The purpose is Dinky Tehc and Change for Game Studios to be able to try to increase their awareness and their potential reach in the world, to be able to have continuous presence through distributing tools that allow us to be able to grow our presence in a functional way, and is leading in terms of strategies by using games as a form of business to be able to try to lead in the business world. And one of the next things to be in the shop, the Dinky Tehc shop, in the materialistic episode that we are doing, that is something that is a unique product. It's a unique product that's able to be combined in today's episode. It's based off of a hydrofoil, meaning the crazy looking floating skateboard situation in the water that floats in the water. Basically, if you look up hydrofoil, and you'll know what I'm talking about, and see that it's not just something that's actually made up, but a hydrofoil is a weird floating skateboard for the sea, for the ocean. In essence, a pumping version of a hydrofoil allows you to pump, and be able to travel and cruise along within the water, within the ocean, within any body of water, to be able to pump, and make the hydrofoil move by pumping it along without a motor. Without a motor, you pump it along, pump. And so what we're doing is talking about taking that same theory and taking that and transitioning that into the original first podcast that this was all about, which is also for bringing it full circle to the Change for Games Studios at the Games for Change arena, which is at the Games for Change Festival, volunteering day 1, to be able to talk about the first podcast episode, which was basically the hovercraft electric skateboard, which is powered by itself with an alternator that's self-perpetuating in of itself, because it perpetuates the energy from the wheels to the alternator and back to the battery. And so it's a nice cyclical cycle of unlimited energy, and a cyclical cycle of electrical unlimited circular energy. And so the product that I was referring to today, is making a pump hovercraft hovercraft hydrofoil in essence, hovercraft hydrofoil in essence for the land, because it's still a hovercraft. So, but you're pumping your hands on the front. You're pumping your hands, and that's spinning a propeller in the back. It's spinning a propeller in the back, and that's filling up the airbag underneath. But that propulsion that actually can be done manually. So it's like riding a bike. Riding some of those somewhat like the recumbent bicycles, but also you can pump with your arms, It's like a lever on the front end, pushing and pulling and spinning the propeller on the back, and that therefore is spinning the bags, and it's also creating more energy that's kinetic and potential energy that's being stored within the continuous framework of continually combining back and forth electrical energy and human energy, because there's batteries storing the electrical energy that's being created by the movement within the scooter hovercraft skateboard. It's like a scooter because it has these handles, like handlebars on a scooter, except, and then combine that with a hydrofoil with the handlebars of a scooter on it, like it is shown on YouTube. If you look it up, yeah, it is. Just saying. Anyways, so you have this is the way that this looks. It's the hydrofoil, and then it's a hydrofoil looking, but there's an airbag underneath, so it's actually a hovercraft. It's actually a mini hovercraft, similar to the size of a skateboard, but this is making the manual version of that skateboard, so that skateboard can exist without having an engine in it, without having a motor in it, without having batteries in it necessarily, but the extra batteries are able to be there and be present, to be able to capture and catch and hold on to the energy that's being made when it's being used, so that when you're back and forth, pumping with the handlebars, like on a regular scooter, but this is made to be able to generate energy, to spin the propellers in the back. That energy has the ability to be stored if there's excess energy within a couple of batteries, to continue to be able to generate and move the hovercraft hydrofoil, basically hydrofoil, but hovercraft skateboard with the electric scooter handlebars. So being able to scoot that along, being able to use that apparatus like the hydrofoil in essence, and have that pumping fashion and mechanism, like a e-scooter basically, that's a hydrofoil. At the same time, we're taking the same principle to be able to apply that to the original electronic skateboard, with the infinite engine in it, into the electric scooter version of this scooter engine that's a hydrofoil in essence design, because it's kind of meant to float like that design where you pump the hydrofoil to be able to make it float and flow forward, and then therefore you're able to make a hydrofoil on the land by using the manual version of pumping this kind of energy into these kind of mechanisms, and then we can therefore sell that in our store as well, in Soho, in our skate shop store. That is also like a foundational metaphorical flagship skate store, because it was the first mental skate store that was developed and existed. As well as some of the interesting drawings that are in Soho, to be able to combine that as well. Yeah. And we saw a pretty cool game that also entailed skating and graffiti today as well. There was a game for change, and we'll try to maybe bring it back and give that a shout out tomorrow. We'll see about that if we get some permission. But after all, it's more so about focusing on this brand, Dinky Tehc, and Change for Games, because that is the purpose of this podcast. But nonetheless, that one had cool animation. Nonetheless, also talking about AI and being able to print games with AI tools to be able to print games, make games, code games, vibe market those games, and using continuous abilities to be able to remind the self, using the podcast to remind the self, to be able to revolve cyclical energies, to be able to try to grow this business, try to grow this as a company, try to grow this as an entity, as an organization, as an energy on a continuous basis, using the philanthropic energy, global giving games, philanthropic energy, ice rink in the sky, philanthropic global grid that's in the sky, to be able to connect all human beings to that global giving grid and the global philanthropic energy giving grid in the sky. And we're outside of the Change for Games Studios Festival reporting this podcast, trying to get that energy back and forth to pump it just like that hovercraft hydrofoil with the e-scooter handlebars on it, to be able to pump energy into it, back and forth through the windows right now as we speak, back and forth through the windows, back and forth energy to try to pump this vehicle forward of the Change for Game Studios and Dinky Tehc vehicle with planting plants in our art, planting plants in our art, and our shoes have the Dinky Tehc logo and a little flower someplace on it as well. So that's our logo for our first shoes. And then to conclude the little podcast, where everything we're doing from now on is IRL, because AI has changed the game. AI has fundamentally changed the game. AI has changed the game of the way the business has been done and been doing it in the past, and all of the time and energy trying to build Dinky Tehc and Change for Game Studios is all completely in ways unforeseen. Tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that and the day after that, changing, evolving. The business landscape is evolving, changing, all in ways that are completely unforeseen, all in ways that are completely impossible and difficult to predict. So therefore, every day from now on is basically the IRL, living IRL, the processes and the changes to be able to make changes and adjust in IRL, to be able to reform and readapt and readjust the Dinky Tehc and Change for Game Studios brand. Dinky Tehc and Change for Game Studios brand by having to live it IRL every day in the best and most hopefully conducive and propagating environments possible, to be able to try to continue to promote and percolate the energy from Dinky Tehc, and Change for Game Studios, to try to transcend that energy into forward motion by showing up IRL, and having to translate human energy from surrounding people and surrounding influences into continuous forward motion moving, continuous perpetual forward moving philanthropy energy, to be able to continue to change along with AI, the continuous landscape of businesses that are existing in today and tomorrow's world, to be able to also add value as much as possible to the global giving games and the philanthropic energy grid that has to do with all of humanity, connecting all of humanity, and optimizing their happiness, optimizing their philanthropic energy by giving to the most people possible, and giving them, hopefully thereby, but as a byproduct, the most happiness, because the most giving equaling hopefully to the most happiness, because the most people can somehow hopefully be the most happy by getting the most from giving to each other by playing games such as like Niantic games, their game that came out many years ago, to be able to get people to run around all of the different cities, including this city, to be able to play games with each other, playing augmented reality games with each other, so that energy, that type of kinetic and potential energy is able to cross over, compound with each other, to be able to develop the most philanthropic energy possible, the most philanthropic energy possible for the global giving games, philanthropic energy grid for the world to all continue to share in. And yes, thanks to and shout out to the Games for Change Festival. Shout out to the Games for Change Festival. Shout out to the Games for Change Festival in a global sense, and hoping that can expand. Hoping that can expand worldwide, and that this organization, Games for Change Festival, is the headquarters for the world to play more games, to continue to generate philanthropic energy, like the hovercraft, with the manually pumping handlebars on like on an e-scooter. All right, that's all for now, I guess. So yeah, thanks again, Dinky Tehc. Bye, peace, bye.